the 4 reasons being a stealth van lifer is not for me. And number 1 is just that I have a camper van. If my vehicle is ever parked at Walmart, Cracker Barrel, to a certain degree, even just at my dad's house, people are going to wonder if somebody's living in her simply because it's an RV. Now, of the RVs that exist in the world, even of the Class Bs, I do have a slightly less assuming van. My AC is in the back of the RV as opposed to sitting on top, so it's a little less obvious. And she's not as large as the newer, fancier models, so she doesn't maybe jump at people in quite the same way. It's an older rig, and I think there is a strange assumption when we think van life or RV life, people do tend to visualize the newer vehicles. So in that sense, someone who's not interested in van life, someone who's never really thought about it, they might not immediately know that I'm an RV. However, I do still stand out. I am still a larger vehicle. I have weird things on my vehicle that even to an untrained eye looks different. Maybe they don't assume I'm living in her, but it just looks different. But to an assuming eye, right, police officers, security officers, people who are looking for van lifers or people sleeping in their parking lots, I absolutely look like a vehicle where somebody might be sleeping in her. And I'm also going to say, as someone who does occasionally sleep in parking lots, while vans and RVs, we stand out, people who are sleeping in their cars also stand out. Maybe not as much as my vehicle would, but yeah, I just think stealth isn't a real thing. So I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose to even try to hide that I'm in her or sleeping in her. It's a camper van. Why else would it be in the locations you can find it sometimes at 2:00 in the morning? And if she's parked anywhere not next to a house, there's a high chance I'm sleeping in her. Number 2 is I don't see a benefit to being stealthy. So let's pretend that I could somehow mask my vehicle into looking like nobody lives in her. Let's just say that. What is the benefit of being stealth? My assumption is that police and security officers won't ask me to leave. Maybe people won't mess with me if they think I'm not here, right? If they think it's just a parked vehicle, maybe nobody will attack me because there's nobody in the rig, right? Here's the thing, I suppose. 1, if I'm ever sleeping in a place that I'm not supposed to be, first, it's rare. It's rare for me to sleep somewhere where I know that I'm not supposed to be. I've done it, but it's rare. But 2, when I do sleep in places where I know I'm not supposed to be there, but I'm just sleeping there anyway, it's because I'm exhausted. In my years, I've only had twice that I've knowingly slept in a place that I wasn't allowed to. One was a gas station that had signs of no overnight parking, and then another was a Walmart that also had signs of no overnight parking. In both instances, I was tired. I had had a full day with my son out on excursions, and per usual, I did not plan where I was going to sleep that night. I thought, I'll figure it out. I'll find it later. By the time we came back to the van and I started to look for places to sleep, it felt like there weren't any places to sleep. So I thought, well, I'm tired. I'm tired and I need to sleep. So I just essentially found a parking spot and I went to bed. Right? Nobody woke us up when I slept at the gas station. When I slept at the Walmart, and it was pretty predictable, a security officer did wake me up. By the time he woke me up, I'd been resting for about an hour and a half, maybe close to 2 hours. I wasn't fully rested. I wasn't like chipper and ready to go, but I had gotten enough rest to be able to think more clearly on where I can go, where I can sleep. So I was able to get us to a better parking spot, better just because it's legal, I was allowed to be there, and we slept there instead. By the way, between having a security officer knock on my window versus a police officer, I would much rather a police officer. There's enough places in the US where I'm allowed to stay the night. Now, there's often a limit of how often I can sleep there, right? So if I were confined to a geographical area, I would have to sleep in different places every night. Meaning Walmart doesn't want me to literally stay in their parking lot for multiple days, although pending weather, I've done it. So yeah, so I don't see a particular benefit in sleeping in places I'm not supposed to be. On the few times where I've done it, it doesn't upset me for somebody to knock on my window and ask me to leave. Again, it's only happened once in the RV. I do see a benefit in encouraging people not to mess with me Okay. But I also, especially again, because I travel with my kid, I travel with a dog. If the vibe of the location makes me feel like somebody might mess with me, I'm honestly probably not in a great place. I'm probably in a place where I'm not welcome and I kind of shouldn't be there. Not only should I just not be there in general, but that means that I feel the people around me will not take care of me if something negative happens, right? I want to be in a place where if somebody does mess with me, if somebody does break into my vehicle, if somebody does whatever, I'm in an area where I can easily get help. I don't want to be in a place where I feel like, okay, I need to be quiet. I need to make sure nobody knows that I'm here because I'm not really welcome. Right. And I've been to certain cities where I drove around and really gotten a vibe. Like these people do not really want van lifers here. They don't want people that sleep in their car. They don't want RVers. Even if we're just tourists, even if we're just driving through, you can get a sense of they don't want us here. And yeah, if you don't want us here, it makes me feel like if something goes badly, yeah, luck might not be on my side. The police might not be on my side. I don't know. Like it just, does that make sense? So yeah, if I have to be stealth, I probably should just leave. The third reason being stealthy is not a goal is because I want to be comfortable in my home, especially summertime, life is getting hot. Number one, I might want to run my vehicle. I'm not going to run her for very long, but I want the option if I need to. But two, I will probably still want to turn a fan or two on. And fans have not a crazy amount of noise, but it's got a humming. It has a sound that if my life depended on my being stealthy, I would certainly not turn those fans on. But I park in places where I know I'm basically allowed to be there. Nobody's out to get me. So I turn the fans on. I also sometimes open some of my windows, not fully open, but open enough to get some fresh air. And sometimes I don't cover my windows with the Reflectix. I literally take them down. Sometimes I'm only taking them partially down so I can open a window. Other times I'm fully taking the Reflectix down because even if I don't need airflow per se, there's an element of being claustrophobic. I mean, and I don't have claustrophobia, but like one of the benefits of having van life is to see the world. I love my windows. I don't particularly want them covered. So if I'm in a Walmart parking spot, there is a chance, not always, it depends, where I might not cover everything up so that I can see the world, so that I can look at what's going on. Like, I can tell you this, there's been, especially early RV life, where I just really thought covering all the windows was mandatory. I am the type of person that if I hear a noise in my house, I'm going to investigate what that weird noise is. And so the same happens in the RV. If I hear a noise outside that is, I don't know, that is curious, I want to see it. I'm going to uncover my windows, right? I think that's part of why I need to be in a safe place. I need to be in a place where I'm comfortable enough to either open the windows or to uncover the windows so I can see the world. Like, this is why I travel, is to see the world. Really, the only times that I will probably cover all my windows is if I find myself in a parking lot with a lot of other van lifers, RVers. If I feel claustrophobic in that sense, then I might block out the view so that I feel alone. But if I'm at a regular Walmart, I'm usually not surrounded by a million other RVers. So why do I need to cover my windows? Why? I don't know. I like having my windows relatively open. I like the airflow. I will also, again, summertime, if it's hot, I will sometimes start the night with the bug or mosquito nets on the front windows with the windows fully down, and I'll relax in the RV, not necessarily sleep. But as the RV cools and as I get more tired, then I'll roll up the windows, right? But visually, people that are outside, if you look at my vehicle, the netting is still up. Right? You'd have to touch my window to know that the window is actually closed. But I would rather have the airflow when I need it, and obviously have the bug screen so I don't get bugs in my RV. I would rather have that than to be laying in bed, sweating to death, miserable, terrified of cracking a window. And I know a lot of female RVers feel this way. They do keep everything closed, even if it's super hot. For me, this is a lifestyle choice. It's just not something I'm going to suffer through. Again, if I'm in a location where I feel unsafe, yes, I'd close everything up, but I don't generally put myself in that situation. I find places that feel comfortable to me, and I don't want to make a blanket statement that the world is safe. There are obviously horrible people on this earth, and you can't tell who they are by looking at them. You can't tell who they are by am I in a safe city or not a safe city? There's a percentage of horrible people everywhere you go, and I can't predict who will mess with me and who will not. But there's not so many bad people in this earth or in the US where I RV that I'm going to live in terror of unseeable and unknown danger. Like I can't live like that. So I'm going to be comfortable wherever I am. And I think part of being comfortable means I display to a certain extent that somebody's probably in the car. Windows open, bug nets. When I say the windows are uncovered, I do mean that I might be in the back playing on my phone, which emits a light. If it's at night, I'm not a huge fan of reading via lamplight, but I will watch a movie or YouTube videos, or like I'll have my phone light, right? The display will be visible from afar, and I'll have the window open. I'll have the window uncovered so people will know that there's somebody in the vehicle. Like, it doesn't bother me for people to know that people do this and that I in particular do this. If it bothered me, I don't, well, one, I wouldn't have a YouTube channel telling you that I do this, but also having to feel like I'm hiding every night, that's awful. That's awful. Which leads to number 4, which is I'm a single mom. And I started RV life with my child. He was 9 at the time. Being stealthy in a vehicle with kids is basically not possible. I wouldn't want it to be possible, right? A lot of times my son, he'll be watching something, reading something, we'll be having a conversation. He will come to the front of the vehicle to get a drink of water, we'll go to the back, and the vehicle moves. If you're moving in your vehicle, the vehicle is moving. So somebody looking at my vehicle will see movement in the vehicle. Like, that's a thing. The 2 times we were sleeping in a place we weren't supposed to sleep, where I knew and I saw the signs, we're not supposed to sleep here. It crossed my mind to tell my son, okay, we have to be quiet because we're not supposed to be here. And we can't like move the vehicle too much. Like, it crossed my mind to tell my son this. Had I been alone, I was absolutely going to be as stealthy as possible, right? Because I knew I wasn't supposed to be there. But the other thing that crossed in my mind is he has a right to be happy. He has the right to laugh, and he has the right to make noise and to move. Like, it's one of my kids' rights. So I never did. I think I did tell him, technically we're not supposed to sleep here. And I told him that because if we got a knock on the door, I didn't want him to be afraid. I wanted to prepare him for if somebody knocked on the door and asked me to leave, I would have to leave. Like, technically we're not supposed to be here, but I'm just tired and it's safer for me to take a quick nap than for me to keep driving. So that's what we're doing. So I prepared him in that sense to expect a knock, but not we have to be super quiet and we have to no. Really the focus was on mommy is tired, mommy has to sleep. But he knows that I can kind of sleep through anything. So minus trying to have a conversation with me, he can go ahead and watch a movie. He can go ahead and have a light on or read a book, or like he can do whatever he kind of wants to do. Just mommy can't participate because mommy's tired. Like, that was the message I wanted my son to receive. Not we have to be Anne Frank quiet so that the Nazis don't figure out we're here. Like, no. I don't want to ever put my son in a situation where we are scared of being caught. No. It's just that we might have a knock. They might ask me to leave. If I just get a few minutes, I'll be able to drive again. I just need a few minutes. So yeah, just the fact that I was, a mother traveling with her son during van life, stealth was not an issue. I want people to know I'm here. I'm even okay with people knowing I'm traveling with just me and my son. 2 stereotypically vulnerable people. I'm okay with people knowing that that's the situation, because honestly, there's more good people than bad. And if people know that I'm here, they'll probably have my back if anything horrible happens. Does that make sense? Now, I do want to add a caveat that I absolutely do believe in being polite, in being good guests. So, of course, when I'm at a parking lot, I'm not pulling out my awning. I'm not putting out chairs and like spreading my wings throughout the parking space. I'm not going to leave trash all over the place. I'm not going to let my dog bark all night. And mostly because it's not the type of person I am, but I would never, blare music or be extra boisterous, whether I'm with my son or not. Like, I'm going to be a good guest, but nevertheless, I am a guest that has the right to be there. I'm just not going to be the type of guest that is terrified to make a noise, that is terrified to get a drink of water, that is terrified. Like, that's just not the kind of guest that I'm going to be. And honestly, not the kind of guest I would ever want to have if I'm ever hosting. So yeah, stealth, not for me. No, thank you.